Good morning, everybody. You'd think I'd know how to do this by now, right? um, Today, welcome to another episode of Mary's Monday Real Estate Magic, the secrets to making your best real estate decision. And today I want to talk about our purchase agreements, our contracts, and how they protect both buyer and seller. First thing you need to know is that um, uh, no agreements in real estate that are not in writing are not legally binding. So you can have a verbal agreement, um, a handshake deal, and as long as both parties agree and fulfill their obligations, that's all great. But if you want to enforce the agreement, you can't go to court and enforce it. And of course, we all know that an agreement is only as good as the paper that it's written on. But um, but anyway, that's an issue for me to interview an attorney about. But today I want to just go over the elements of our purchase agreement. The Chicago Board of Realtors has their purchase agreement is a 4-page document. And it's in very small type. I probably should have put this up on a screen share, but I didn't think about that. And one of the pages is actually just an information page, a signature page, that has all the contact information of the parties involved in the transaction. The other elements are, you know what, I am going to share this with you. I'm sorry, I should have done this ahead of time, but I didn't think. I'm not very well prepared this morning. Welcome to fall. The first day of fall is tomorrow. So that's cool, I guess. I mean, it's been very fall-like. Our days are definitely getting shorter, no question. I'm kind of talking here while I pull up the form that I want to share with you. I should have done this ahead of time. Sorry. Here we go. Okay. So, and now I need to share it, right? All right. Let's see. Where are you? Here we go. All right. Now I can share it with you. Share screen. Here we go. All right, this will make it a little easier. So this is our contract, and you can see it's kind of fill in the blanks. This is the name of the buyer. Here's the name of the seller. Here's the property address, the property tax number, and all the personal property that's included. This is where we put in what the buyer is offering. If the buyer is looking for a closing cost credit, that's where this gets filled in. If the buyer wants the seller to provide them with a home warranty, and you will recall we discussed home warranties maybe about a month ago, and how much earnest money the buyer is putting up and who's going to hold the earnest money. The contract is subject to the buyer's ability to get a mortgage. And if the buyer is paying cash, then we check one of the boxes that indicates that the buyer is paying cash. What I like to do is write across here cash, if it's in fact a cash deal. But if it's not cash, and most deals are not, the buyer has a certain period by which they have to get a loan commitment, and we put that date in here. How much down the buyer is putting, what the interest rates are, and the interest rates. What I explain to buyers is that it's a worst case scenario. If you show up at closing with 110% financing at 0% interest from your Uncle Fred, gives you a loan, gives you the cash, you show up at the closing with money, nobody really cares. But if in case the Uncle Fred plan doesn't work out, then you have to go get a real mortgage. And in here, you're stipulating the worst case scenario. So it protects the buyer if the interest rate should jump up. We put in a ceiling. If you can get a better rate, get a better deal, fine, nobody cares. well, I don't know that nobody cares, but you know what I mean. You get the point. We put in when the closing shall occur. If the closing doesn't look like it's going to happen at that time, generally speaking, the closing date is a target, is kind of a guideline rather than a target. But if we're going to close at a date different than this, then both parties have to agree. And it could be an opportunity to open up the contract again if you don't close on the date that you're supposed to. The seller has to provide a good and warrantable deed. Real estate taxes are the seller represents what his real estate taxes, what exemptions, if any, are included. And typically real estate taxes are prorated, and that's a whole topic for another day. We'll talk about tax prorations. Homeowners association, what are the assessments? Is there a special assessment pending? The seller is required to give the buyer all the association documents, so the budgets, the minutes, so that the buyer understands what they're walking into. And has the seller given the buyer the various disclosures that are required? In the city of Chicago, the seller is required to give a buyer a heating disclosure, as well as the typical property disclosure, lead paint disclosure, and radon disclosure. Is the agent that's writing the contract representing both buyer and seller? And if so, then he's acting as a dual agent. And again, that's another conversation for another day. Contract is subject to attorney, both buyer and seller attorney review of the contract, and we can fill in a date here. It's usually typically 5 to 7 business days. And the buyer has a right to do a home inspection. This is what I call the due diligence period. Attorney review, home inspection, review of condo docs if it's a condo. That's all part of a buyer's due diligence. Once we get through all that, then the only way the buyer technically can get out of the deal is if they cannot get their financing. And if there's any other provisions or addendums, sometimes an as-is addendum is included. An as-is addendum, the seller's not representing anything about the condition of the property. Something that's typically added if it's like an estate sale. The seller is selling a property that's in an estate and they haven't lived there, they don't really know anything about the property. It's pretty common to include an as-is addendum to the contract. And then that's it. Here's the signature page, all the various information of all the different people that are involved: buyer's attorney, seller's attorney, buyer's agent, seller's agent, buyer and seller, of course. And what had happened here? Where did we go? And lender's information. And then the last page is all what I call the legalese that the lawyers get into. What will be prorated, what things that are prorated are prorated. Seller has to come with good, clean, and merchantable title. Notices have to be in writing. What happens to the earnest money in the event that either party should default? Seller represents that all the operational systems are in good working order. So it's a pretty balanced contract, and it protects both buyers and sellers. It doesn't protect one to the exclusion of the other to any extreme. And then the other thing is, as I mentioned, buyers attorneys, the buyer's attorney and the seller's attorney both have the right to review the language. Most attorneys that deal in real estate transactions, they how do I get out of here now? Hold on a minute. They I don't know what's going on. Okay. Okay. No. Okay, stop share. There we go. Sorry, I really need to get somebody to help me with this. Anyway, as I was saying, most attorneys that deal in these contracts, real estate attorneys that deal in these contracts on a regular basis, they actually have templates stored in their computer, the things that they like to add, the additions that they like to make, things that they don't feel the contract adequately covers. I think I said last week, both buyer and sellers typically have attorneys represent them in Illinois at a closing, and that's one of the things they do is they review the contract and make sure that the contract protects their client. So that's it. If you have any questions, I'll by all means put them in the comment box. If you have something specific that you want me to address in future episodes, by all means, let me know and I'd be happy to take those issues up. But otherwise, have a great day, have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you again next Monday morning, bright and early. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye for now. Stop recording.